correct, if we are streaming correct on YouTube, because sometimes it does some problems. Let's see if everything is correct, because it was doing some problems, the system.
I see it's recording.
Is going, yeah, it's going. Let me check if everything is okay so we can move forward. No, that's not allowed embedding. Save. 2 minutes. I don't know, they have this feature. So we are about to start. So anyone who is live, please give us a like and share on Twitter so we can reach more and more people. We are gonna start soon. Let me check if I can fix the problem with the streaming. Yes, sir. I fixed and we are finally live. Hello, this is the Bitcoin Libertarian. Our guest today is Aviv, also known as the Bitcoin Truth, a dedicated Bitcoin maximalist with the mantra "Fix the money, fix the world." Aviv has been immersed in the Bitcoin space since 2017, positioning himself as a vocal advocate for Bitcoin's transformative potential. Beyond the digital realm, he's a former IronMan triathlete. Amazing. I want to talk about this too.
Okay.
Embodying the resilience and long-term vision that defines true Bitcoin enthusiasts. With over 1,600 followers on X, Aviv shares insights on everything from government Bitcoin reserves to market dips and the broader economy implications to sound money. Today, we will talk about Bitcoin past, present, and future. Aviv, welcome.
Thank you very much, Fernando, for having me.
And thank you very much for being here. As I told you off the record, you are the first person from Israel that is in our show. So again, thank you. We always love talking with Bitcoiners of all around the world to show that Bitcoin is for everyone. And
That's true.
despite cultural difference, we all share this same ethos of freedom, of self-sovereignty and independence. But the first question that I do to everyone, Aviv, is how were you on a spiel?
Okay, so first time I heard about Bitcoin, I was actually in the United States in 2017. Some guy there, his name is Jeff, introduced me to Bitcoin, but only in the financial point. I mean, you can buy it and it will make money. People say then it was $2,500 for one coin. And he told me, yeah, you can buy it. The people say it will get to 10,000. I bought one coin. And when it got to 10,000, I sold it. I thought I was really smart for doing that. But everybody did that, right? And I even
Of
got
course.
stolen one. I also didn't know nothing about self custody. And also, one coin was stolen from me. I did all the mistakes that you should do in order to go in and understand about Bitcoin. And in 2020, there is a guy in Israel, his name is Ben Samocha, which has a big community of Bitcoin. Actually, last summit in Las Vegas, he was on the stage in a panel talking about Bitcoin. And I started listening to his podcast and started to go inside the rabbit hole, as everybody knows. Actually, I think one of the podcasts he had two parts about the creature from Jekyll Island, about the creation of the Fed. And I listened to that twice. And then, once you open your eyes, you can't close them. And
Yes. Once you
I remember telling my wife, listen, this is a game changer. This is something that humanity never saw before. And ever since then, I'm only diving inside the rabbit hole, which it's a process that never ends.
Yes, it's a process that never ends. And as you said, is full of mistakes. I got into Bitcoin in really early stage. I remember 2011. I used to buy Bitcoin to make payments through. I spoke about that in most of
Yeah,
my episodes, but I used to make payments outside Argentina, and at that time I didn't understand. I even gambled 8 Bitcoins at that time in an online casino and I lost. So then I understood it correctly in the during the pandemic, and since then I'm on this quest of orange peeling as many people as possible, bring me Bitcoiners to tell a story, and of course try to get new people inside Bitcoin. And I want to ask first some interesting thing that I read in your Twitter. There is a tweet that you put that says every dip is a buy. What does it mean?
Well, it means that in first time in humanity that we have a new financial system that cannot be manipulated, right? And we talk about it later, maybe about truth and lies, about money and governments. So every time they are trying to do something to press the price down, it's an opportunity for us to vote. Actually, Bitcoin is the first time that you can do actually change in the world without violence, without going out to the street and protest. If you want to make your voice heard, just buy Bitcoin. Buy it and hold it and take it to self custody. That is the best non-violent way to change the world. So every time people see, Bitcoin dips, then you see all those naysayers saying Bitcoin is going to crash, it's going to go to zero. Those people just look on the price. They don't understand the true meaning of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is much more than just the price. Of course, price is sexy, and the price goes up, then suddenly people start to ask you about it. I have, people in the family, everybody knows I'm in Bitcoin in my work, and then, oh, you saw Bitcoin, it down, the price went up. I should have listened to you when you told me to buy. If we got, sats for each
And and
time, we would be
and one
millionaires.
and let me interrupt, because it also happens to me when Bitcoin goes up. But when it goes up, they say I should have listened to you. Now it's too expensive. Oh, hello.
But it's okay. It's money. I believe it.
Sorry, Aviv, the connection the connection is not good. The connection is not
Yeah, now
good,
it's
and
okay.
now it's okay. You were cutting. So can you please continue from this point that your family is asking, your colleagues is asking?
Every Bitcoiner has this story. It goes down, they're telling you it's a terrible investment, it's going to go to zero. And when it goes up, I mean, I survived the 2020, 24 cycle, which was really not that cycle. And when it dropped down to 17K, people talked to me and told me, you see, this Bitcoin is not going to work and everything like that. And, I was calm because at that point I already know what Bitcoin is, or at least I had better knowledge. And when it goes up, then everybody's saying, oh, we should have listened to you. We did a mistake. Why didn't we bought it? You try to explain them that it's going to be much more valuable in the future. But, and as you said, people say, no, now it's too high. And I'm telling them, okay, now it's like 100K, 120K. When it will be 500,000 or 1 million, what then will you say? And then you say it's too high. So try to explain to them that they don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. They can only buy sats.
Yeah, that's the great point. And as you said, when there is the meme that, oh, when it's up, they say it's too expensive. I should have bought when it was 20K, and when it goes down again, it's a no, it's a scam. It's good that I didn't bought this crap. So I think that this is something that the problem with people in Bitcoin is that most of the people of the world don't understand how money works.
That's
So
right.
when you go to the rabbit hole, the first thing that you understand is that all what you think that you knew about money is fake. And you need to
That's right.
relearn how money works. And then you go into Bitcoin. And I think that people don't understand this how the fiat system works. That's why they don't pay attention to Bitcoin. Do you think the same?
People for ages, and that's why I call myself in Twitter Bitcoin Truth, because Bitcoin reveals the truth. He makes you see the truth. And if you go to the history of money and how money was created and how money was started. I mean, the first banks, so-called banks, was actually changes, and it started with a lie. The money printer didn't started in 1971. It started way before, when people used to have gold and it was hard to transfer gold from one place to another. Let's say that once upon a time humanity said gold was the best way to have value for stuff, and the best way to pay for things, to valuate things. And when it started, if I had a ranch and you wanted to buy the ranch, and we could say, okay, so the ranch will be 12 coins of gold, but the gold was in another city and you had to go in a carriage to in a few days in order to get the gold and to get it back, and you could get robbed. So the place that hold the gold found a solution, and the solution was, I will give you a paper, and that paper says that you own 12 ounces of gold. I keep them for you, and I will guard them. And so if someone come and wants to buy my land, instead of going and buying it and bringing the gold, he gave me his note, right? That's the IOUs, and we it's a safer way, easier way. We don't, if we want to go to another place with a ship, we got to go to another country. That's the best way. We're not start, there is a talk about Spain stealing the gold that was shipped, if you remember, I don't remember for where to when, to Europe. So the best way is to do it by IOUs. And then someone came to those places that brought you the IOUs and said, okay, I want a loan, right? So this guy told him, no problem. I give you a loan by using another man's gold, right? But I won't give you the physical gold. I will give you an IOU, and I will take a rate for that. I mean, and it started in Europe, so most of them was Christians, and Christians are not allowed to take interest. So nobody should talk about that, right? So it was between you and me, and you don't tell no one that you're gonna pay, that you're paying me interest, and don't tell no one. And so basically, that's how the lie was formed, okay? Because no one knows exactly what happened between so-called bank and that's man, and that's how the lie started. And the big lie was in 1971, but it goes back a little bit before, after World War II, when Europe was broken. Don't forget that Europe was after two world wars, right? And no one trusted no one in Europe, and the United States was the big savior. And they said to Europe, okay, bring us your gold, we'll save it for you, and you will do your all your accounting in dollars. Of course, you remember the first bill of dollar had the price of gold on them, right? It was IOUs. You can bring me the dollar and get gold. And then French, in some point, I think in '69, said to the United States, something is not added up here. I mean, we think there's a problem, or you're in Vietnam and your too much dollars are out of the market. I mean, we want our gold back. And they sent, and first of all, what the Fed did, they told them, no problem, give us your bank account. Let's say that your gold worth $10 million. We will deposit $10 million to your account. You don't need to send ships to take the gold. It's too complicated, and why you need it? It can go lost in the way. We'll deposit the money. And the French said, no, we don't want that. And they sent ships. Actually sent ships to Manhattan Harbor, and went to the Fed and took the gold. That's when the Fed came to Nixon and told him, listen, we have a problem. I mean, that's okay, they did it, but once Germany and all the other nations want to do it, then we have a problem.
Yeah,
And and that's what led to the Nixon shock. But uh, but actually, if we want to deep a little bit dive to the deep to that, today the National Bank, the IMF, doesn't know really how much money is out there in the circulation. If you ask them how much money there is in the world, they don't know. The only way they think they can control the money is by raising and lowering the interest rates, which is false, because they don't know how much money there is. And actually, today, if people don't know who prints the most money, do you know?
The banks, for sure.
That's right.
The
Most of the people who
private
tell you, the,
banks.
yeah, most of the people who tell you the governments, right? They think the governments hold the money supply. They don't know that banks are the one that's printing the most money. Governments have no control already over that process. And if you see inflation, and how come that inflation goes up? I mean, if you think about it in a Russian way, today you have much more shipping, much more airplanes. Today you can buy things from China with less than what they cost. I mean, Israel is an expensive country, right? But I can order from AliExpress or no matter from where, much less expensive, right? I can. The shipping is much more better. If they want to drill oil today, they got much more better equipment. It's much less expensive to draw oil out of the ground or gas or whatever. But for some ununderstandable reason, prices always go up. How can that be? And when you see, you said about the legacy media and their lies. When you see them interviewing the Fed chairs or whatever, even in Israel, when I see it, they never ask the simple question: how much money did you get inside the circulation this year? Why are prices still going up if things are much more efficient this time?
I think that, sorry for interrupting you, but it's because the journalists that they do the ask the questions, they don't know. That's the point. Even though if you are a journalist specialized in economics with a degree in economics, you are taught in the way of the scam, of the way that the EMF wants, the fiat world wants. I studied economics, and I remember when the teacher was teaching the class about the fractional reserve banking, they were teaching about that as this is normal, this is what it is. And I raise my hand and say, excuse me, they are lending money that doesn't exist. No, no, because it's blah, blah. And even the teacher couldn't explain how it works. And this is what you know when you go into the rabbit hole, when you study Bitcoin, when you discover Bitcoin, when you discover how it works, and of course, when you study Austrian economics. So I think that's the one of the points. Journalists and the people who are in the top of the economic newspapers and all the things, most of them don't know, and most of them know, but they want to keep their jobs. They want to keep their reputation. That's the thing.
Exactly. And today you know that they're also getting paid for that. Same as the pandemic. Same as you go to a doctor. I think I saw in Twitter someone wrote a post. No, I'm sorry, in Facebook, someone wrote a post that he got some medicine for allergy, and when he started studying about the medicine he got, he realized that it has nothing to do with allergies. And when he called to his doctor and asked him, "Why do you give me this medicine? It has nothing to do with allergies." Then the doctor told him, "That's what I got to sell to you from the drug company." And as you said, once you get into this rabbit hole, you understand that everything we are taught about is a lie. And Bitcoin forces you to see the truth. See what JFK is doing right now in the United States, talking about the pandemic, what they taught us about that, about the injection. Simple question. I mean, Israel and I know Europe and I know United States signed an agreements with Moderna and Pfizer when they deliver those drugs to the population. Most of these agreements are blacked. Most of the sections there are blacked. You don't know why, and it's a drug. It's a agreement between the government to a drug factory. It's not like something, like an army factory or something like that, high intelligence spying, or I don't know. Why, why there is supposed to be a reason that section test will be blacked and not revealed for the public?
Yes, and
And when
also all what happened after these things, all the things that are happening with young athletes with health problems, A lot of athletes. I'm a big fan of football, and I watch football since I'm a kid. I'm 44, and I have never seen as many football players collapsing on the field in these last years than in all my life. So yeah, of course, all of these things are the consequences of the fiat war, because they are this the end goal of in the past, the end goal of a company was to make money, of course, because we live in a capitalist world, and I support a capitalist and free market world, but was making money, as our president, Argentina president, say, serving the people with better products at better price. So, but now, as this all craziness of the crazy fiat money that can be print out of nowhere, the problem is to give crap and generate as much money as possible, generate as many contracts with the governments as possible, and not make money doing real world capitalism. That's what I think.
I agree with you. There is no problem with the capitalist system. The problem is with the fiat system, which is based on theft. Once you are close to the rulers, once you are close, actually, fiat system, you can compare it to a proof of stake, right? The one who's got the biggest money, he's the one who got the biggest opinion. That's it. And the ones who are closer to the money machine, they are the ones who most benefit. It's not a fair fight. And that's making the capitalism a unfair game in a place that it should be a fair game. I mean, in a Bitcoin standard, if you have a good product and people like it, they will give you sats for it. You will earn it for giving them a good product. In the fiat system, if you're good in lying to people, if you're closer to the money makers, then you'll make money. And there is nothing about, and there is no connection for how good you are and how good is the product that you want to give. And the fiat system encourage you always to spend, not thinking about it, not being responsible for your expenses. Look what happens in TV, in commercials, and everything. The simple thing, when you watch TV, when there are commercials, they're automatically raising the volume in the TV. You didn't raise your volume in the controller, they did it for you. So you won't miss it, so you hear it. That's part of the machine. They're telling you what to think, what to talk about. When there is something that they don't want you to talk about, then they distract you and take it to another place so you won't talk about it. Let's talk about the gold. You remember that when President Trump was elected and Elon Musk was in the Doge, they said we're going to do a validation of the gold, right? Even Elon Musk said in a post it will be a great thing to go inside with cameras, that everybody will see if we have the gold, we don't have the gold, how much gold we have. Suddenly, he is not in Doge anymore, right? And no one is talking about it. Even, I don't know if you paid notice, Scott Besson in the last tweet that everybody put on Twitter, that he said that the United States has doesn't intend to buy more Bitcoin. Then of course he
Yes.
probably got in the head from Trump, so he fixed that. But he said there a sentence about the gold. He said, I'm in doubt. I'm in doubt if we'll ever do a re-evaluation for the gold. He didn't say it about Bitcoin, but he said it about gold. And you have senators that say that they wanted to go inside the Fort Knox to see if the gold is there, and the army told them no, it's a national security thing. You can't go. You're not classified enough. And Elon Musk is one of the most classified people in the United States. I mean, he's doing them the most important intelligence project with satellites and everything. Everybody knows that. So there is no
Yes.
transparency in the world. In the fiat system, you can't be transparent because all the fiat system builds on lies.
Yes, as you said, the fiat is close to a proof of stake protocol, and Bitcoin is a proof of work. So you just we don't trust, we just verify. And how do you think that Bitcoin? Because I remember in the book of Safety, the Bitcoin standard, he points that when the humanity advanced faster and better when the humanity has some money. How do you think that Bitcoin can come? First of all, is it possible to Bitcoin to remove the old system, and how can it help to bring a better capitalism for everyone?
Well, that's an excellent question. We are in the middle of a revolution, the digital revolution. I mean, in the beginning, we were living in the wooden houses, right? And then we discovered the stone. And people who used to live in a wood house said, no, stone is not. It's harder. It's difficult to build the houses. No one will do it. And in the end, we are all living. Most of the population living in buildings with stone, right? In the beginning, we used to go to one place to another with donkeys and horses. And then suddenly someone invented the engine, right? I mean, Henry Ford invented the engine, and people started driving. In the beginning, what all people said, it won't work, right? It's problems. You need to find out how to make it work. You need gasoline, and in the beginning it didn't work well, and you have to change the tires. And now, can we imagine a world without cars? So now we are in the middle of transformation from the analog world to the digital world. It started when the internet came into our life, and we were there, right? We are old enough to remember that. I was in my 20s, in my early to end, starting my 20s, and people said the internet won't work. There's not the chance. No one will buy it. And if you remember the first emails, right? I mean, no one will use it. Everybody was coming to use the post office, and and it's too complicated, and internet won't work in every place in the world. And now you have the Starlink that you can access internet even if you're in the desert, right? So you can't stop it. And everybody that was against that revolution end up being the last. By the way, this is why Saylor, whether you like him or not, and that is to answer your second question, how Bitcoin will take over the fiat system. Seller recognizes something, and he was the first one to recognize it in the corporation level, right? Because think about Microsoft and think about Google in the beginning of the internet, or Gmail or Hotmail in the beginning of the internet. Everybody said it won't work, right? But they saw the future. They understood that everything is about adoption. In the end, it's better. It will make people's life better. So it will happen. You just have to give it time. And today, our kids, I mean, I have kids, picture them without the smartphone, right? It won't happen. They don't understand. If you tell them that when I was young and when I was in my 20s, there was no phones. If people needed to reach me, they used to call to get to the neighbors. The neighbors told to my parents told me, right? I remember I was in the army, and they needed to, in one Shabbat, they needed me to go back to the army fast because there was a problem. And I was in the beach in Tel Aviv, and someone went to my parents' house, and they told my friend, and my friend came to the beach and told me I have to go to the army, right? I mean, there was no cell phones. No one used cell phones. And now pictures us talking right now. I mean, who thought it would be that could happen?
No, of course. I remember when I love traveling, and I start backpacking when I was in my 20s. And I remember I'm 44 now, and I remember my first trips. I used to travel. I traveled a couple of times to Brazil. Then I backpack around Southeast Asia, and my parents, they don't even know if I was alive, or if I was. And now I'm talking with my mom because my dad passed away. I'm talking with my mom almost every day using the WhatsApp. Or even though if we don't talk, she can check my Instagram. Sometimes I upload things on social media for my friends and my family to see that I'm okay, I'm here, and I'm on the other side of the world. So, and didn't happen. You need to think that it happened in 20 years, in less than 20 years. And as you said, now we cannot see ourselves without our smartphone. when I go to the office every morning, it's funny because I love reading and I read a book and I'm OG, so I don't like the Kindle. I like the physical book. And you see that I'm in the bus reading a book, and everyone is with the mobile phone. And I sometimes think the kids that come say, "What is doing this guy? What is he reading? Why is doing using paper?" So yeah, of course, the adoption at the beginning we didn't think that was gonna happen, or most of the people didn't think that that was not happen, and now we cannot live with these features. And I think that with Bitcoin it's going to happen the same. It's happening the same. And
That's right.
you mentioned Sailor.
Yeah, so let's talk about Bitcoin adoption. Uh, Bitcoin started as normies. Okay, someone bought Bitcoin, understood it, went to the rabbit hole, told another guy about it, another guy, from mouth to ear, and that's okay. That's brought Bitcoin to 3 trillion capital, right? But in order to grow up in scale, you have to bring big players inside. I mean, in the beginning of money, people used to exchange money between themselves, right? You bring me eggs, I bring you potatoes or whatever, right? And then there were rulers, and the rulers created coins, and they made the adoption bigger, right? When the Roman Empire was an empire, they decided all the countries that inside the Roman Empire only can use the ones who have Julius Caesar or Augustus Caesar on their coins, and that made mass adoption. So I think Seller, once he went inside the rabbit hole and understood it, he's like kind of seeing the future. Okay, he understands the benefits of Bitcoin. He understands that no one can stop it, and about no one can stop it. Putin is a very strong ruler, right? I mean, no one can take him not seriously. And I think a couple of months ago in a press conference, someone asked him about Bitcoin, and I don't think he was ready for that question. If you saw his expression in the face, and he said about Bitcoin, well, no one can stop it. You can't control it. That's what he said. You can't control it. And for a Russian leader that wants to control everything, to say about something you can't control it, you understand that nothing can stop this train, as Lynn Alden says, right? And in the end, people will go to the place that makes their life better. That's why people use smartphones, because it makes their life better. That's why people use vehicles. That's why people use internet. Although all the experts told them no, it's not good, it's bad, it's all. In the end, people go to what makes their life better. And
Yes, yes, and at the end of the day, you can use these. These are tools because there are the critics that Bitcoin is for criminal, for tax evaders. The same way that there are bad people on internet. You can spend all day watching YouTube, stupid stuff on YouTube, or you can watch the MIT and learn a lot of things with YouTube. So at the end of the day, it is the way that you use. And as you said, the people adopt it. It's private, and people adopt because it's good and because it makes the life better.
yeah, but let's talk about just like what you said about criminals using Bitcoin. And that's another legacy lie, okay? Uh, and there is interest behind that, right? I mean, the EU is trying really hard to make the the CBDC, the best money, the new best money in the world. First of all, I'm on the corner that believes that in 2030 there will be a financial collapse. I don't know it will be exactly 2030, maybe a year there. Don't catch me on the date, but we all know that the fiat system is out of control. And in the other end, we all know that today most of the money, the fiat money, is basically digital. I mean, you you today you nearly don't use cash. You pay with your phone, you pay with your credit card. The money is already digital. So why do you need a CBDC? Right? Because the money is already digital. And I advise all the people that listen to us to go to listen Efrat Ferguson. She also a big known name in the crypto in the Bitcoin community. She was in Vegas and in Prague, and she always speak on the stage. She have great lectures about CBDC and the lie of CBDC. And that Ursula from the EU is and the IMF is really promoting. And so for them to let people think that CBDC is better, then they have to say that Bitcoin is not, because they cannot control Bitcoin, right? Because it's decentralized, you can't control it. So they're saying it's using criminals. That's the narrative they're trying to push all the time in the media. And when you ask people in the street, what do you think about Bitcoin? The first thing they will tell you, no, it's for criminals and money laundering and all that, right? Uh, let's say after October 7, all the media said Hamas used Bitcoin. That was the narrative. And for us in the Israeli Bitcoin community, we actually tracked the wallets that they used. And yeah, they used Bitcoin, but the amount of Bitcoin they used was less than 1%. Most of the money that they used in order to build and for corruption was dollars. And also the IDF found millions on millions of dollars in their tunnels, right? But they are living like the most wealthiest people in the street in the universe, while their people are starving. You find in their houses pools and luxury cars, and in their boats millions and millions of dollars. So actually there was, and by the way, when people will, and the blockchain is the most transparent thing in the world. When people learn about blockchain, they understand that blockchain is it's much better and much more transparent than any other financial system there is. If you Everything is open to your eyes, it's an open book, it's an open ledger. You can just go inside and see exactly what wallet transferred which amount to what wallet anytime in real time. If you go to your bank today and you tell them, okay, I have like $1 million in the bank and I want to withdraw them, they will kill you. They will tell you, no, we can't give you, it will take us days. Why do you want to take it? You know, there are tax implications on that. And if you want to bring it back, then we won't take it because we think maybe you are laundering money. They did it to me in Israel, you know. And I told them, guys, you forgot this is my money. I can do with my money whatever I want. I don't need your permission, right? I mean, I'm not criminal because I'm taking my money. You need, I mean, first of all, I'm not a criminal. And that's what to show you that the real criminals are the fiat system and not the Bitcoin
Of course.
system.
Yeah, of course, criminals use Bitcoin because Bitcoin is for everyone.
That's right.
Bitcoin doesn't ask permission. It's not because it's the currency for criminals. It's the currency for criminals. It's the currency for good people. That is the biggest portion of the world. And Bitcoin is for everyone. Bitcoin don't ask permission for you to use it. You just need to go, download the wallet, generate your 12 or your 24 words, and start using it. That's the amazing. And you pointed with the bank, and many of us had problems with the bank. We have a company in Singapore, and we had our bank account shut down just because they wanted. We sent all the documentation that we requested, and one day we wanted to pay for a customer in Europe, and the customer said the money is not here. What the fuck? What is happening? The problem, and was because they froze the account. First of all, they froze the account, and they say on that day, this account is gonna be closed. And I say, why I cannot use the money? Okay, close my account. But why I cannot use the money? No, the only thing that you can do is send the money to another account of the same company or one of the shareholders. That's the bullshit of the banks. So Bitcoin don't ask for this. If I want to send money now, and of course, if you use the bank, you're not sending money, you are sending IOU. So
Yes.
that's the point. That's the other thing.
And they
That's
take
the
commission
difference.
for that. And they take
They
commission for
take
that.
commission. They take commission for using your money. And again, as if you want to withdraw all your money of the bank, they will start asking questions. They will start putting taxes. They will. So that's the thing. And now all is digital, and they still want to push CDBC because CDBCs are an extra level of control.
Of control. That's right. That's what stands behind the CBDCs, right? It's all about control, nothing else. It's not about money. And if you look in the internet, there is the slogan "Build Back Better." I don't know if you know about that, if you heard about that. It's all those who made the world corrupt, and they're like a promotion agenda. Like, we know the world has a problem. We know that things are not working right, but let us we will build the world better. You see there Obama, you see there Tony Blair, you see there people from the EU. Like, trust us, we will do it better. But you are the guys that put us in this condition. So why should we trust you? I encourage
Of
everyone to
course.
go into YouTube, write the words "Build Back Better," and see how they are all correlated with the message. How it's a perfect machine working to shift your mind. And behind that "Build Back Better," they will do the CBDCs, which is a mean of control. By the way, I don't know if you know, but CBDCs right now, the EU said they went to China and they saw how it works in China. Yeah, right, the big democracy, and they said, "Wow, it's excellent! It works excellent in China. We should replicate how the Chinese authorities implement the CBDCs and bring it to the EU, the Democrat EU, right?" And and they tried it in Uganda. I don't know if you know it, and people just burned all the banks because they didn't know how to use this digital money. And also in Thailand, I don't know if you know, but a year or 2 years, a year ago, I think, the government in Thailand, by the way, they did it with the most low income people because the easy way is to influence them. And I told them,
Of
we
course.
will give you free bats, right? Free money, but you can only use it 4 kilometers from your house, and you have to use it to spend all in 6 months. And if you don't do it, then we take the money back.
Yeah,
And
we
that's the
had
system.
something. Yes, in Argentina, when there was the last elections between Javier Milei and Sergio Massa, that was the other candidate. This candidate, that thank God he didn't win. That Milei, thank God Milei got the election. This candidate wanted to put the CDBCs in Argentina. And yeah, that's the you said. I heard also in Canada. I had some guys from
That's
Canada
right.
in our podcast, and in Canada they are promoting the account, the CDBC account, and they give you an account. If you opt for the CDBC account, they give you $10,000 out of
That's right.
nowhere to use the account. And of course, they do with the poor people. Here in Hong Kong, during the COVID, we had some they give us vouchers like vouchers for using whatever, and we also can only can use in certain shops, and they have an expiration date. So of course people, the governments are pushing the CDBC because it's a way of controlling what you do, and people don't know. They are gonna come as, oh, this is the solution of what we are doing now. And as you said, now we have all our money digital. As you said, I don't know when was the last time I touched. You know, I have a 10 Hong Kong dollar note for a bookmark. So I don't use cash. I pay with Apple Pay. I do all the things. So yeah, of course the CDBC are a way of control, and they are gonna start attacking the poor people. They're gonna say, okay, we give you this money. You get this universal income. You get this money, and this is gonna be. But I think that the community is fighting back, and of course I always talk about Milei because I'm Argentinian, and it's the first time that we are proud for something that is not football. And when I'm outside Argentina, they as I said, I'm from Argentina, and they talk about Maradona, of course, Messi, and now most of the people they talk about Milei, and for me it's mind blowing. Besides, I support him a lot, and he giving these speeches in Davos, trying to wake up the people. Now he put the discussion in the middle about the freedom, about the money, and I think that the CDBCs are a little bit now they are pushing in the UE, but in the rest of the world they are a little bit. For example, in the United States, Trump said no to the CDBC, and I think that, but they are going to try to push it on all counts. Talking about Israel, how is the situation of Bitcoin? How is the community? Is big? How because you're the first person from Israel that I spoke in the podcast, and I want to know.
Well, in Israel, the regulatory around Bitcoin is not advanced at all. I think only last week or 2 weeks ago, there was the first time that in the Knesset, which is the the parliament of the of Israel parliament, they had a small conference about Bitcoin. First time that people from the Bitcoin community came and talked and tell them that we are behind. But I think the situation in Israel today, the regulatory is not encourage Bitcoin. It's not, they don't bring you any problem. But in Israel, if you sell Bitcoin, it's like they tax you like gain taxes, like 25% tax. So if you want to go to the shopping store and buy something with Bitcoin, then first of all, most of the, it's not common here to pay in Bitcoin. Most of the places will not accept Bitcoin. I don't know any place that will get Bitcoin as a payment because of the tax implications. So we are really, really early in that point. So, but I hope that it will change. In the end, you know, you don't have to talk, you don't have to listen to what they say. They have to see what they're doing. And if it's okay with you, we'll talk about another something that you said, and that's how Bitcoin will be implemented and will take over the fiat system. And that's what I was trying to say about Sailor in beginning. In the beginning, in the end, in order to Bitcoin, in the beginning, I was in the camp that says that I don't want governments to hold Bitcoin. I don't want big corporation to hold Bitcoin. I want people to hold Bitcoin, right? But then you realize that most of the money is not in the hand of peoples. Most of the money is in the hand of institutions and governments. So in order to shift from fiat to Bitcoin, you have to infiltrate into these places. So what Saylor is doing right now, and other corporations are following, he's taking the instruments from the legacy financial systems and Bitcoinize them, right? He's making bonds that are better than the bonds that the government's selling. And the bonds that the government are selling are fake bonds because there is no money behind them. But the bonds that he's selling are not fake because there is actual hardcore money behind it. There is Bitcoin behind it. And that's why he can give better interest because his bonds are not declining in value. They are getting better in value. So it's all about incentives. So people will say, okay, I can get from government bonds, which are backed by nothing, 4% interest, but I can go to sellers bonds and get 9 or 10% interest, and the value of the asset that's behind these bonds will go up. So you know they measure the how much Bitcoin, the adoption of Bitcoin with the amounts of wallets. That's the way we used to measure the adapt of Bitcoin. But I say that's not true because the adoption is much larger. And why I say that? Because once the ETF came to the world, people are buying Bitcoin through the ETFs. They are buying them, their trust funds are buying ETFs. So maybe the man in the end doesn't know he holds Bitcoin. But once BlackRock buys Bitcoin in his benefit, even if he doesn't know it, he's a Bitcoiner. Okay, right? He didn't go through the rabbit hole, but he holds Bitcoin. And and if you look at the amount of money that inflows inside those ETFs, you see that the scale of people that hold in Bitcoin is much more wider. And if you look in places, as you said, I mean, as I said, look in the incentive, not what they say, but what they do. JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon always talks against Bitcoin for years. Bitcoin is a fraud, it will not succeed, it will go to zero. But then you see that the bank, the JP Morgan Bank, is the second holder of MSTR shares. So, you know, or IBIT, okay? So you say, okay, but he says it's against Bitcoin. So why are you holding so much? Avantgarde, which is the largest trust fund in the world, always talks about against Bitcoin. Always talks about Bitcoin, but they are the first holder of MSTR shares. Swiss banks hold MSTR shares, right? The United Arabs, They buy IB, they buy BlackRock, they buy MSTR, they are investing in the sons of Trump's companies of Bitcoin. I mean, look in the end what they are doing. And Bitcoin comes to the people when they really need it. If you go to Turkey or you go to Lebanon or to Syria or to Iran or to the South countries of South America, most of the people use Bitcoin, better hold Bitcoin. They try, if they can, they save in Bitcoin because they see their fiat currency collapse in front of their eyes. I mean, they can wake up in the morning, they work hard all month, they got their paycheck, and day or 2 days after that, the prices already go up and their money worth nothing. And the government, as much as she can try, she can't stop them from buying Bitcoin, right?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. And I agree with you with the point of the companies adopting Bitcoin and the big money from Wall Street coming to Bitcoin, because this is a big debate, a big controversy that we have between the maxis. I'm a Bitcoin maxi, but of course I'm with Satoshi in this. Bitcoin is bank and bank. Bitcoin needs to be for the people. But again, I think that these companies, for example, strategy, what it does by going into Bitcoin is putting Bitcoin mainstream and making more people see what is Bitcoin, or try to ask themselves what is Bitcoin. Because if a CEO of a listed company, probably if I talk to my friends or to the people that I'm nobody about Bitcoin, they will not trust me. But if a CEO of a listed company like Michael Saylor talks about Bitcoin in mainstream, this is a big advertisement for Bitcoin. And this will trigger people either holding Bitcoin in an indirect way by holding MicroStrategy shares or any of other instrument that they do, holding IBIT or any other ETF. And then most of these people, probably not most, but probably a portion of these people are going to go through the rabbit hole. And they are going to say, and they are going to buy Bitcoin, and they
That's
will
right.
become maxis. So I think
That's
that the
right.
process of having these companies, again, it shows that Bitcoin doesn't ask permission, and as they have the money, it's good what Saylor is doing, that is competing against the bond market, that is a scam market, and it's acting like a black hole, sucking all this fiat, worthless fiat, and putting into Bitcoin. What he's doing is incredible, and many companies are following. So
Exactly what people used to do with gold, right? And of course, we are Bitcoin maxis, and I encourage everyone to hold Bitcoin self custody. Never trust no one but yourself. Bitcoin also makes you be responsible because the fiat system used to tell you that you have to rely on the banks, right? I mean, that's part of the fiat scam. And Bitcoin forces you to be reliable for your money. I mean, we are grown up people. We have to know what money is and how to be responsible to treating it, and what to buy and what not to buy. And that's what good in Bitcoin, right? Because as humans being, we become lazy, right? It's easy for us to watch TV all day and take our mind out of the being responsible for our lives, right? I mean, the government will make sure that everything will be okay, and that's part of the lie. That is the reason why we pay taxes, right? We pay taxes because we have agreement with the government that we will pay you taxes, and for that taxes you will make our life better. Now, I don't know, we can count, I mean, think on one hand how many countries actually make the life of the civilians better, right? But all the countries take taxes. I mean, you're from
no
Argentina, you
one.
know that. I'm from Israel, I know that, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, now
Nobody takes
luckily
care of us.
I'm living in Hong Kong, and the taxes here are really low. But in Argentina, is again our president now is removing taxes. His goal is to remove as many taxes as possible, so the private sector can work and can develop the country. But yes, of course, and we paid a lot of taxes in the past with the other Argentinian governments, and the things were worse. Now most of them are complaining about Milei because they know, because they don't put money on this, they don't put money on that. And I said, when you were in the government, the situation was good. The people,
It
the
was worse.
retired people, was good. No, we'll be living in the middle of shit for years, and now we have a guy that at least is trying to change it. So, but yeah, no, of course, the taxes. For me, taxation is theft. I'm a
That's right.
libertarian, so for me, taxation is theft.
That's
It's
right.
taxation is theft, but even more than taxation is inflation. That's why I support the quest of our president to fight against inflation at all costs. Because inflation, first of all, is a tax that you cannot evade. It's the
That's
first
right.
tax. If you can do some intelligent things, especially the rich people, but you can evade taxes. And if you are poor, you don't pay taxes. But inflation is the only tax in the world that you can't evade, and it impacts, the biggest impact that inflation has is in the poor people, in the people who live paycheck to paycheck, because
That's
you
right.
need to make a decision as an economic agent every month about how much money are you gonna use for consumption. And if one month you can reach the day 30, but the next month, because of the inflation, you will reach the day 29, and you need to make a decision. Either you eat less or you eat things of less quality. And all these things added one to the other in the future are very bad for you, for your kids, and for society. So that's why I think that inflation is the biggest and the most criminal tax that governments do. And the governments that do inflation needs to be the people on the government that promotes the inflation by printing money needs to be in jail, because again,
That's right.
is a tax that is not legislated. At least all of the other taxes go to the Congress and get approved by the deputies and the senators, but this is not legislated and impacts to the people who has less money, because the middle class, you live through inflation, you can save, you can, okay, you can buy dollars, you can buy Bitcoin. In Argentina, we save in US dollars. But the poor people, the people who live paycheck by paycheck, is uh, is the people that is most affected to inflation. And it's not only affected in money, it's affected in their health, in their development. And they go into the poor rabbit hole, and the kids that are raised on this family, they are not getting the nutrients to get a very good developed brain. And they are going to be in this cycle forever. So for me, I hate inflation, and I support any government who fights against inflation. And let me talk about the IronMan. Did you do the IronMan? Did you do the IronMan before or after becoming a Bitcoiner? Because
No,
I
no, no.
think that the
Much
IronMan
before.
must it's these things. When you become a Bitcoiner, you start taking care of your health, you start doing exercise, and you get these things, these challenges, and this discipline. How was the process on the Ironman?
Actually, I did an Ironman in 2014 in Austria, in Klagenfurt, and it was an amazing experience. I never thought I would be able to finish the competition, but I did, and that was great. Uh, you learn a lot of lessons during training and during doing the competition itself. The training are very hard and they take about a year, let's say. Of course, I was working in the same time, so you wake up early in the morning, even if it's cold or hot, it doesn't matter. You have to do your training, and you get injured, of course, because it's a lot of volume of training. And Ironman is an individual competition. It's not a group competition. So most of the time you are with yourself. So it brings you a lot of time to think about your life and about the goals you put in your life and the way you want your life to look like. And I thought it taught me a lesson about taking responsibility and about believing that small steps can take you to the higher goal, right? I mean, if you start in the beginning, you think about how can I do an Ironman, you will never do an Ironman. But if you do it in small steps, say, okay, today I have to run these miles or kilometers, and I need to swim this training swim, need to bike this hour or 2 hours. Then you do it in small steps, and those small steps during the time are added to giving you to the point that your body and mind are available, can do the full distance, and the body can do almost everything you train him to do. Okay, if you train it right, he will do it. Okay, it's a muscle, you have to train it, but the hardest part is to train your mind, to understand that even if your body wants to quit, even if your mind wants to quit, your body has much more to give. And it's to fight the voices in your mind that telling you, no, it's winter, cold, everybody sleeps in the bed, and you wake up in 4 a.m. and it's rainy, and you have to go to ride the bike for 3 or 4 hours, and you wake up and you say, no, I want to stay sleep, I want to stay, you know. Just a second, I see in your end that we lost the connection. You hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
we're
I'm
back.
hear you now.
Yeah, yeah. So you want to go back to bed, right? It's the easiest way to do it, the easiest thing to do. But then you say, okay, I will just get up from the bed and I will brush my teeth and that's it. Okay, and then I will just put the bicycle clothing on me and that's it. I won't do the ride. And then you take out the bike and I will just go to the route. And if I decide I will ride, and if not, then I will go back home. And then you finish the training and you are very happy that you didn't give up and you did the training. And it taught me
Yeah,
those lessons, which are
this
very valuable for life.
this is amazing, and I see the connection with this and Bitcoin, because when you train for these kind of things, it's not like going to the gym and taking selfie in the mirror. It's training your mind and your body, and you start to value the first of all, as you said, small steps to complete the goal. It's the same with Bitcoin. You don't have to buy one Bitcoin. You can buy sats every week. You can do a DCA plan for just few dollars every week. And you need to be attached to that and do it every week. And the other thing is that the time preference. You are not going to run an Ironman probably the first day, but with these simple steps and with time and discipline, you can do things that are almost impossible for the rest of the people. Are impossible because they cannot? No, are impossible because their mind is blocking the thing. And when you put the work, when you put the proof of work and all the
That's
things,
right.
magic happens. And that's why I want to see that with Bitcoin, because since you become a Bitcoiner and when you become a Maxi, you change a lot of things in your mind. Bitcoin does not only change the way you see money, but it changes the way you see the whole life. I don't know if it
That's right.
happens to you.
Yeah, I did. Absolutely. My wife calls me a conspiracy, right? Because I always go to the conspiracy theories because I'm trying to tell her, don't believe to everything that you listen in the legacy media. You always have to question things. You always have to think why they are saying what they're saying. What is the agenda behind it? And you said something that is, I never looked at it that way. You really opened my eyes. IronMan is proof of work, exactly like Bitcoin, right? And and that's an amazing statement that you said, and I'm going to take it with me. And here you talk about Milei and what he's doing in Argentina. It's hope. In the end, what you're saying is hope, right? Milei gives you and the people of Argentina hope. He's showing them that there is a different way, that you can live life in a different way. You don't have to accept what you've been taught for years, and that's amazing.
Yes, and one of the things that Milei has that I like is that if we want what he spoke on his presidential campaign and when he spoke every day is that it's not easy. We are gonna go through a lot of pain, and he's not Jew, but he studies the Torah, and he always talk about because he has a rabbi with him, and he always talk about like the biblic things and the religious things, and he always do the parallelism. And if you want to reach the promised land, you need to put work, and it's not going to be happy. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be simple. It's going to be hard. You're going to suffer in the middle. But if you put the proof of work, you're going to succeed. That's the magic that I like him. I never liked politicians. I hate politicians. But when this guy started going to the television to talk, and most of the people like joke about him because they say he's crazy, but he's like the way he speaks, the way he is incredible. And most of the things that I do is like I try to do the parallel thing between Bitcoin and the rest of the world. Put the proof of work on everything, and everything that has proof of work behind are worth and are better. And when you don't do proof of work, it's not good.
And the best thing about Bitcoin is that it's decentralized, right? I mean, in the end, everybody will understand that Bitcoin is the the new best financial system that we ever had. And if you live in a country that is not good for her civilians, then they can live to a country that is better, that works in proof of work standards, right? That it's
Of course.
transparent to her people. And other countries will have to change the way they work with their civilians, because if not, people will just go, they just stand and live. And with Bitcoin, it's easy for you to live, because if you want to live states in the Europe, then in Europe, then you have to declare how money you have, and you have to pay tax because you want to leave this country to go to another country for money that you have. But with Bitcoin, they cannot do it, right? I mean, see what happened in Canada when they had the protest of the truck drivers during COVID, right? The government tried to stop them because it didn't fit the narrative, so they shift to Bitcoin, and the government couldn't stop it. Today, the court in Canada says that what the president did then was illegal, right? But no one's going to hold him accountable for that. People suffered, right? People got punished. People went to jail. Their bank accounts was frozen. But no one's going to put him in prison for that, right? As you said, we don't trust politi- politicians, but politicians will have no choice. You saw it in the elections in the United States. As our movements grows larger and people will go with the incentives, when Bitcoin is better for humanity, then politicians will have no choice. They will come for us. Bitcoin doesn't need you, you need Bitcoin. Governments doesn't Bitcoin doesn't need governments. Governments need Bitcoin. And that's what will happen. And the government that most need Bitcoin today, they are the first to realize that and to have Bitcoin. Like El Salvador, I hope, like in Argentina, like in Bhutan, right? Like in
Bhutan, Bhutan.
suddenly, yeah, and suddenly you hear about Venezuela and other countries. They understand, and in the end, we talked about the CBDC. CBDC is great for Bitcoiners. It's great for Bitcoiners because that will push people to Bitcoin. I'm happy that they are trying to push CBDC. It's great for me.
Yes, yes, it's good because it's opening the eyes of the people, and again, like I think that you nailed it when you said people don't need politicians. Bitcoin don't need politicians. Bitcoin doesn't need sailor. Bitcoin
That's right.
is there, is there, and when they need, they go and are gonna pick up Bitcoin, and it's gonna be a better world for everyone. And talking about Bitcoin, we are reaching the final part of our interview. What do you think about the future of Bitcoin?
Well, as I said before, you can't stop this train. You can't stop the digital revolution. And digital revolution needs digital money. In the end, once Bitcoin will be more mature and proof of work works over time. It doesn't happen in a day. That's why all the proof of stake coins are, they are rising and collapsing fast, because there's nothing really backing them. And I'm not against big blockchain innovation. Humanity in nature is about innovation. People will always want to innovate, invent stuff. That's why we progress as humanity, as humankind, right? That's how we came to the place we come to. So projects on blockchain are very good in my mind. I'm happy that people do projects on blockchain like NFTs and DeFi's and whatever. It will always be there. Don't fight them. It's supposed to be like that. Innovation is part of our society. But in the end, the best financial system is Bitcoin. It's the hardest asset there is. It stands in the test of time, and as it matures, it gets stronger and better. And in the end, even AI and the digital world will recognize that Bitcoin is the best way to transfer money, the safest way to transfer money, and the most secure and safest way to do deals one each other. And in the end, it all will collapse if you put it in uh, in in the other side of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin proves itself as to be the most secure and most sophisticated system there is. People talk about quantum computers and how much it could ruin Bitcoin, but they forget that Bitcoin is computable and it can be evolved in time. And people are already working on solutions for that. And newsflash for everyone: once quantum computer will be able to hack something, it will be able to hack the banks first. It will happen. It will be able to hack government first, right? And only then it will be able to hack Bitcoin. So I believe that banks and governments will find a solution for us before we will need to find a solution, right? And so it's another lie that they are telling us, right, to try to get us away from Bitcoin.
Yeah, all the quantum computer, the energy consumption, all the crap that they've
Yeah,
been talking for
green
years. Yeah,
energy, right? That's
I
another lie.
I I do the same analogy when they talk about the quantum computer. I say, if you have, because people think that a quantum computer is a MacBook with a different processor. No, quantum computer needs technology, needs a temperature to operate, needs to be in a place where the seismic activity is no seismic activity. So needs to be in an environment very, if you have access to this and you want to hack Bitcoin, what is going to happen if you hack Bitcoin? At the moment that you hack Bitcoin, Bitcoin goes to zero. So you
That's
lost.
right.
All of us lost. But the guy who put all his effort and money and get this computer, all this return is zero. So why cannot use is to hack the bank, the HSBC network and drain all the money from the HSBC that at the end of the day are numbers in a database, and they can buy Bitcoin with that. So I think that all this FOMO and all the stupid things that legacy media uses to attack Bitcoin, it make me laugh. And that's why we're here. That's why we are talking about Bitcoin every day for the people who is not into Bitcoin and are willing to listen to other voices. Don't listen to mass media. There are a lot of amazing podcasts, amazing podcaster, people posting in Twitter that teach more than even than the university. And the last question, Aviv, is if you had the chance to sit down with Satoshi Nakamoto to have a coffee, what could you ask or say him, her, or they?
I would just say thank you, and that I think that he should get a Nobel Prize, and that Bitcoin
Yeah,
is hope. He brought hope to
Bitcoin.
the world, to a world
Yes,
that needs
Bitcoin.
hope, world that needs hope.
Yeah, hope I think is one of the fuel for the future, and if we have this tool that is Bitcoin, it give us hope better world for me. I'm super bullish on the future of humanity. Of course, it's not going to be easy, it's going to be tough, but we need to embrace Bitcoin. One analogy that our president does is when the people, the Jewish people were slaves in Egypt, but they have food and they were taken care. Few of them just opt of leaving the emperor and going through the desert and walking through the desert for freedom. Was easy. Easier was to stay with the king and be a slave and get your food every day. But all of these that sacrificed this food every day for freedom and went through the desert for years and years, then they arrived to the promised land. So I think that this is the analogy with Bitcoin. It's not easy. It's not, you need to study, you need to put a lot of proof of work, but at the end of the day, you're going to be free. That is the most important thing of this revolution. And I think that the world is going to be a better place. So thanks for being here. Thanks for talking for this amazing talk. And anything else you want to add and how people can contact you?
Thank you very much, Fernando. Well, in Twitter, I'm the Bitcoin Truth. You can contact me there. And thank you very much. It was a great pleasure for me to speak with you. Thank you very much.
A great pleasure to speak with you too. And this episode is gonna be in few days in our YouTube channel because our old YouTube channel that we used to stream was taken down. So now we stream and then we edit the episode and we upload to YouTube. Let's see what happens. So thank you very much for your time. Have a great day, and I wish you the best. Keep stacking sat and keep doing the. I hope you go for another Ironman.
I'm old now, but yeah, I'm still training like a crazy. Yeah.
Like I think that you talk about the body and the age is is a matter of
Yeah, I'm
of
laughing.
the
I'm
mind.
laughing. In the last
Of
competition, an 80, 90-year-old man finished Ironman. So yeah, I'm
that's the
planning
point.
to do another one. Yeah.
That's why, because that Iron Man is something that attracts me, and someday, of course, I need to train, and now I have a lot of, but I would like to do something like that because it's a proof for yourself. Now, for example, I'm running and I'm training. I'm taking a half marathon in a couple of months,
Ah,
so I'm
great.
training. Yes, yes. This year I finished 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, and now I'm going for 21. So that's a great number. And the funny thing is that when I arrived in Hong Kong 5 years ago, I could run only 100 meters and start coughing. So
I was the
that's
same.
the that was
I was
that
exactly the
was
same.
and without that, this is something that Bitcoin put me, the power of discipline, the power of proof of work, to get attached to a plan and repeat it every day, and sometimes days are good, sometimes days are not good, but at the end of the day, if you go through this process, the process is what it was. Again, Aviv, thank you very much for your time. Have a great day,
Thank you very much,
and
Fernando.
and I will let you know with this in YouTube. And thank you very much for the people who is on the other side. If you like the episode, please give us a thumbs up. Sorry, a like. Share with share in your Twitter, and please share this episode with the people you love. Share this episode with the people you hate, because we must reach 8 billion people to onboard them to Bitcoin for a better world. Our social media, our X is the Bitcoin double underscore. Our YouTube channel, our new YouTube channel is Bitcoin Libertarian. Our YouTube channel in Spanish is Bitcoin Libertarian ESP. Our Instagram is the Bitcoin Libertarian, and our Patreon is the Bitcoin Libertarian as well. See you in another episode of our podcast. Stay humble, stack sats, and remember, we are all Satoshi.